really the thing with inflation is designed to hurt people who don't own any assets. If you don't invest, if you don't own property, inflation is going to beat you over the head because the price of your rent, the price of everything you do, your world is going to get flipped upside down because everything that you have is going up. Whereas if I'm a purchaser of a home, for example, even if inflation goes up, if I have a fixed rate, I know that my mortgage rate is never going to go up. It's going to stay consistent. So that allows me not to have to deal with inflationary costs related to my actual place of residence where I'm resting my head at night. Who out there hides food and snacks from their children? I know I do. If I bring all the snacks, all the juices, if I bring everything in the house, it'll be gone in like 24 hours. So I keep some of it in the trunk of the car, or I may put it somewhere that they wouldn't obviously look. But let me know how many parents out there actually hide food from their children. I know I thought it was stupid. My mother used to do it. I would just like look behind the couch and it would be like boxes of cinnamon toast crunch, and I'm like, what the heck? I don't even know why I looked behind the couch. Maybe I dropped something or something to that effect, but I thought it was crazy that my mother did it when I was younger. Now I find myself doing it. So if you hadn't food from your children in 2022 because they'll eat all the junk food, let me know in the comments. I'm a licensed attorney, not your attorney. This isn't legal or financial advice, just talking about finances and letting y'all know what's going on in the household of the debt-free dad. In today's video, we're going to talk about inflation. We're going to talk about ways that people commonly beat inflation. And I'm going to let y'all know what of the ways that you can beat inflation, what my method to beat inflation is. Inflation, let's keep it short and simple. I probably did a video on this a long time ago, but inflation, short and simple, is when your dollar loses its purchasing power because the cost of everything else goes up. If you have $100 in the bank right now, if you keep $100 in the bank in 3 months, you'll be able to buy less stuff than you can right now because the price of fuel, food, everything is going up. That's essentially what inflation is when your dollar loses its purchasing power. But there are investments you can make that can help you fight inflation or that can stem off the effects of inflation. And it's really important because right now inflation is crazy high. It's like 7%, like averages anywhere from 2.5 to 3% a year. 7% inflation, that's just ridiculous, but that's a whole nother story. The first thing you can do to stave off and fight inflation is invest in tips. Everybody like, what tips? Tips is the jewels I'm dropping on this channel. Well, yeah, but not those, not those. That was corny joke. Not those type of tips. It's called Treasury Inflated Protected Securities. Essentially, it's an investment vehicle that's offered by the government that matches inflation. So the rate of return you get on the investment matches inflation. So if inflation is 7%, the return that you'll get is 7%. If inflation is 3%, the return you'll get is 3%. Now, how can you invest in these tips, in these treasury inflated protected securities? Well, you can do it by investing in an ETF. There's several ETFs out there that deal in this arena. I'm just going to name a few, not saying y'all should invest in them. I'm not invested in them. I'm just letting y'all know this is how people invest in those vehicles. One of the ETFs is IVOL, another one is TDTF, and the third one is SCHP. So, again, what are the pros of investing in a tip? Well, you're going to get a guaranteed return that matches inflation. That's definitely a pro, is a way to kind of stabilize and reduce your risk as opposed to being in the actual stock market itself. Let's take a look at it. SCHP, that ETF over a 5 year period has an average return of 4.4%. Now you're thinking like 4.4% is garbage. Yeah, better than what you would get in a savings account, not more than what you would get in an ETF that follows the S&P 500. Because if you consider it, the S&P 500 ETF has an average return rate over the last 5 years of 16%. So what's the benefit of investing in the tips? So what's the benefit in investing in the Treasury inflated protected security? Well, one of the benefit is that it reduces your risk. You aren't going to lose any money, but you won't have the ability to make a large amount of money. It's stable, it'll give you slow growth, but it probably on average would not match what you would get in the marketplace. People who invest in those type of securities are probably people who are more closer to retirement. They're 60, 59, 62. They don't want to have their money in the stock market when the stock market is on a downturn. So they put it somewhere that's safe and reduces their risk. Option number two, this is an option that I'm doing, is the actual stock market itself. Like I said, the S&P 500 over the last 5 years, the average annualized return is about 16%. I'm young. I got, knock on wood, plenty of years left on this earth, plenty of years left to invest. So there's no need for me to rush and sell any of my stocks and move them anywhere. I'm just going to stand fast. I'll ride out whatever the storm is with the stock market. All the inflation concerns, the tension with Russia and Ukraine, the global pandemic creates all of this fear in the marketplace. But me, because I know I got a good 2 decades, 2+ decades of investment left, I'm not really worried about it. I'm just going to leave everything where it is. That's kind of the approach that I'm doing. Option number three to stave off inflation is to diversify your investments. And essentially, you do this by making sure that your stock portfolio isn't too heavy in one particular arena. You don't want to have all tech stocks. You don't want to have most of your stocks invested in one particular area. You don't want to have 80% of pharmaceuticals in your portfolio, 70% of tech stocks. You don't want to have 90% of all stocks in your portfolio. So by diversifying your portfolio, making sure you have a little bit invested in each arena when there is a downturn in the market, it protects you from eating one big loss all at once. Because right now, if you had a tech portfolio and it's like 90% tech heavy, you're probably getting beat over the head. But if you can neutralize that by diversifying your investment. Another option that people use to, stave off inflation is investing in real estate. If you're investing in real estate, not always, but the thought is you actually have a physical, tangible piece of property. If you're renting it out or doing Airbnb, you can generate cash flow every month that you're getting, and that property is appreciating. Does property always appreciate? No, but for the most part, the property value itself will appreciate. So you allow yourself to gain the value in the appreciation of the property, but you also allow yourself to generate cash flow every month from renting it out or either doing an Airbnb. So that's a way that people kind of fight off inflation. Another way that people try to fight off inflation, I don't know, this is one I'm invested in, but for me personally, I don't know if it's a good hedge against inflation. And I think it depends on where you are in your financial freedom journey and how many more years you got to invest. Cryptocurrency. A lot of people use cryptocurrency as a hedge against inflation. So typically, you'll see when inflation rises and the stock market goes down. Not most times, actually, now is a little bit unique, but most times when inflation rises and the market goes down, you'll see crypto assets increase in value because people are like, hey, let me take my money out of the stock market because it's just, a bear market. The market is going down, and let me put it in crypto so that can grow. Now, that is an option that some people use. Me personally, I think it just depends on where you are in your financial freedom journey, where you are in your investment journey, how many more years you got to invest, and how much risk you're willing to take. Me, my crypto holdings, as y'all already know, make up probably less than 2% of my entire investment portfolio. When I talk about just the money that I have in actual investments, crypto accounts for less than 2%. I'm not in a position where I want to ever have my portfolio too crypto heavy because, hey, I just don't want to assume that risk. Am I going to invest in it? Yes. Do I invest a certain amount every month? Yes. Am I willing to make crypto 33% of my entire investment portfolio? Hell no. So it just kind of depends where you are. Um, typically, I don't personally perceive it as a hedge against inflation, but a lot of people do. But because I got a lot of years left, I'm going to continue to invest in crypto. And like I said, I got a good, 20 plus years of still investing. So I'm not really worried about it. Now, if I was 62, would I sell all of my stocks because the market is decreasing to buy crypto? Probably not. But as always, I'm going to tell y'all, do your own research. And the last way that people fight off inflation, this is one again that I'm not a fan of. What I'm doing is I already told y'all my option. I'm rolling with the stock market. I'm gonna leave it in. I'm gonna ride it out, and I'm gonna make sure I get that annual average annualized return that the market produces. is investing in precious metals, investing in golds. Now, let me tell you my thoughts on investing in golds, and there's a few ways you can do it. Me personally, I'm not someone who's I don't really see the value of investing in gold. And I'm gonna tell you some of the pros and some of the cons. One of the pros of investing in precious metals like gold and such is the value of gold consistently goes up over time, which is a good thing. Two, it allows you to diversify your portfolio if you do have some actual gold, precious metals. Three, there are unique ways you can invest in precious metals. They actually have a precious metals ETF that I saw where if you don't want to have a big gold block or you don't got enough money to buy a gold block, you can buy into an ETF and they solely invest in precious metals. So there are some unique ways to do it. If I were to invest in golds, I would probably do it through a precious metals ETF as opposed to actually purchasing gold because if it ever gets to a point, I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. If it ever gets to a point where me having a gold block is a commodity and it's important, that means we done already hit the zombie apocalypse. At that stage, I care more about my guns than a big ass block of gold or some gold doubloons. So I'm not concerned about having a big gold block because I just personally feel if we ever get to a point where I gotta lug around these blocks of gold and what go up to a merchant and chip off pieces of gold to trade for goods and services. If we ever got to get to that point, if our economy, if the United States ever get to a point where everybody is doing transaction as gold, the dollar is obsolete. If we ever get to that point, I'm more concerned about having fuel, medication, guns, and ammunitions than actual gold. So that's kind of my view on it. Some people like to invest in it. It's not really a thing for me. If I were to invest in it, I would probably do it through a precious metal ETF. Well, that's it. I just wanted to give some ways, some options, and let y'all know what option I'm doing. That's it. I wanted to just give a quick video. Hey, as always, I appreciate y'all for checking out the content. Make sure you like this video. It's free to do. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Be blessed. Peace.